Hello everyone, thank you very much for watching this video. My name is James Calcott. I'm a Schools and Colleges Liaison Officer at Royal Holloway, University of London. And today's session is interviewing one of our current students, Riona, who's going to introduce herself in a second. And really the purpose of this video is to give you an idea of what it's like to be a student overall, but also what it's like to be a student at Royal Holloway. So Riona, over to you, if you'd like to introduce yourself.
Hi, my name is Riona and I am in my third year of studying philosophy at Royal Holloway.
Excellent, thank you very much. So where did you go to school or college?
So I went to Wimbledon High School up until the age of 16, and then I moved on for sixth form. I went to Esher College.
Excellent, excellent. And how did you kind of choose your A-levels and BTECs? Did you do A-levels or did you do kind of a mixture of both?
Yeah, so I did 3 A-levels and they were drama and theatre and psychology and philosophy. So I chose them because, well, I wanted a good mix. So one was more sciencey, one was more creative, and one was more like a humanity. So I quite like that kind of diversity. I wanted a little bit of each thing. So yeah.
Excellent. And how did you find that mixture? Was it kind of something you'd recommend to someone else, or did you kind of regret not focusing on one key area?
So I quite enjoyed it, because I could take a break from all the kind of creative work or working on a script or something, and then go on and do some like problems in my psychology textbook or something like that. So I quite like the diversity. I would recommend it if especially if you're not really sure, you don't really have a plan, or you don't know what kind of career you want to go into. It's good to kind of keep it broad, I think.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, completely agree. Wonderful. And kind of going back to that time, so kind of, halfway through year 12, the beginning of year 13, was going to university an easy decision for you, or kind of did you have a number of different things that you were considering?
I think university was definitely an easier decision for me personally, because my family were all kind of expected that I would kind of want to go to university, but I didn't really think about it until I was in sixth form. So that's when I properly started, considering what university would be like and what I wanted my experience to be like. So yeah.
Definitely. And how did you kind of first make those steps into kind of university and stuff? Like, what were your first first bits of exposure to like higher education and all that type of stuff?
So I went on quite a few open days during the summer, and that was when I was 17, I think, and I went to all the different campuses of the different unis I wanted to go to, and well, for me, I was really paying attention to the kind of campus environment. What kind of environment did I want? Did I want to be in a city? Did I want to be in just a kind of more kind of rural area with more kind of wildlife and things like that around? And I thought that Royal Holloway was a good mixture of things, near a city, on a kind of green place, and also it had old buildings and new buildings, and I quite like the kind of the fact that you can go from being in a really modern building to just go into a traditional building. So yeah, I like the kind of diversity of things on campus. And I also was paying attention to the course, obviously, and I picked philosophy, and I wanted lecturers that were really engaging. And so when I went to a taster lecture at Royal Holloway, I knew that this was the place for me, because I instantly was so engaged with the taster lecture that I was like, this I'm hooked.
Excellent. So, and you obviously said that you're doing philosophy at the moment, and obviously you chose philosophy, but kind of why did you decide to choose that course, that kind of subject area? And then obviously you said about like the engaging academics at Royal Holloway. Were there other things that kind of the course at Royal Holloway kind of stood out to other courses that you had looked at?
So for me, philosophy, I chose that because I really enjoyed it at A-level, and I really wanted to study it in more depth, because in A-level we just kind of scratched the surface with a lot of the kind of more complicated, interesting theories that I wanted to learn about. So that's why I chose philosophy. And I also really liked the discussion element of philosophy classes. It's like no other class really, because everyone's really open to hearing everyone's wacky ideas and things like that. So the discussion element was definitely something that I really liked philosophy in particular for. And why I chose Royal Holloway specifically for philosophy, well, I really liked the course structure, because it was one of the more diverse structures that I saw, and it didn't just kind of include European philosophy or just American philosophy. It had a little bit of each. It had some Arabic philosophy in there, and I think obviously every university has a way to go before decolonizing the curriculum and everything, but I think whenever I see that, I'm very encouraged. So yeah, I quite enjoyed that aspect, and also there were more creative focuses as well, like things on aesthetics and art, and I'm a really creative person, so I definitely was encouraged to see that as well. Yeah.
Excellent. Yeah, so kind of that different sort of strands within kind of your subject areas, kind of not just going straight down the middle. And it's really encouraging to hear you say, as a student and stuff, about choosing a course because you enjoy it, and kind of doing that research and really sort of drilling down into the course, into the modules and that type of stuff before kind of deciding what to study. So yeah, that's really encouraging to hear that's usually advice we give. So it's good that that's kind of coming through, and that's something that you would also kind of suggest. So it's kind of a big question, but why did you choose Royal Holloway? Was it kind of your first choice, or did you kind of come through in a different way? Because I know some students, look around Royal Holloway and say, yeah, this is amazing, and then actually decide to go elsewhere, and vice versa. Students come to Royal Holloway and are blown away, and that's it for them. They've kind of completely decided. What was it for you?
So I was quite torn between my first and second choice, because Royal Holloway was my second choice, but my first choice was King's College London, and that was obviously in the middle of a big city. And so the thing that I was really kind of torn about was, do I want to be in the middle of a city, or do I want to be on a campus like Royal Holloway? And also I definitely enjoyed the taster lecture more at Royal Holloway, so that was really pulling me as well. So I kind of thought, because my predicted grades were a bit higher for KCL, I put that first and then I put Royal Holloway second. But I'm actually really glad that I ended up at Royal Holloway, because I think I definitely prefer this kind of environment in terms of the campus environment, because I lived in Founders in my first year, so everything was really convenient. I could just go to my classes, go to hang out with friends. It was all in one place. It was more of a community feel. So yeah, that's
excellent. And kind of casting your mind back to your first year, obviously you're coming to the end of your undergraduate degree. So what kind of was the first couple of weeks like? How did you find settling into university in general? Was it hard? Was it a struggle? Was it quite straightforward? Did you find it a really really easy sort of process? How was it for you?
For me personally, it was quite an easy process. It was quite good after I managed to kind of pluck up the courage to talk to someone and be like, hi, how are you? Just talking to people around me, because everyone's really social in the first couple of weeks. So it's quite easy to make friends. And you just kind of have to go first, I guess. But yeah, that was something that made it instantly a lot less daunting of an experience for me, because everyone around you is kind of in the same boat. We're all trying to kind of settle in together and figure out how to do adult things like doing our dishes and things like that, and going to do our laundry and stuff like that. So it was good because I had people around me most of the time who were kind of always willing to help me, or I could help them, so it didn't feel too daunting, or it was definitely not a lonely experience. So that's what helped me. Yeah.
Cool, nice. So we're going to move on now. We're going to move on to kind of the second section, which is the greatest thing. So I'm just going to say about and then something else. So just give me kind of one or two things that's the greatest thing about these things I'm going to say. So the first one is your school or college. So what was the greatest thing about Esher College?
I would say that's quite hard actually. I think I'm torn between the facilities on campus, because it was a much bigger campus than I was used to, and the options, I would say sorry, this is the best thing. Okay, it's the opportunities that were available to me. So I had things that I could do that I had never had a chance to do before. So I ran for the student union, I got in, and I did that campaign. I'd never done something like that before, and I got the chance to do little pieces of work experience. For my drama class, we had this period of time where we were going to the theatres in London every single week, so to watch those plays, and then we'd write essays on them. So these different experiences and different opportunities kind of broadened my kind of work experience as well. So yeah, those are definitely the best things about the college experience. Yeah.
Excellent. And what about where you grew up? What was the greatest thing about where you grew up?
I would say, well, I grew up in London, so it's obviously very diverse, and my area where I lived had quite a lot of like a big Asian community there. So I quite liked kind of being able to meet different types of people and have lots of different restaurants and shops and different communities where you can get these very specific things and kind of try things out that you might not have had the opportunity to try elsewhere. So yeah.
Excellent. Okay, and what was the greatest thing about your A-levels? This is a hard question because lots of students probably sitting watching this going, is there anything great about A-levels? Like,
I would say the greatest thing about my A-levels were that they challenged me and that they pushed me to kind of work hard and really, well, I worked hard for my GCSEs, but this was kind of another level of work because everything's in so much more detail and depth, and I think especially considering how varied my A-levels were, the kind of work I was doing was completely different in one subject to the next. So I would say it kind of broadened my skill set, I would say, and my work ethic as well. Yeah.
Excellent. Okay. What's the greatest thing about Royal Holloway? Again, I know it's kind of like a big question to ask, but if you could choose one or two things.
Well, for me, the most immediate thing that I was instantly kind of introduced to when I came on campus and started studying here for the first time was that it's such a community of people. And I know a lot of people say that, but I think that it's so great that we get the chance to meet different people, not just from different backgrounds, but from different places in the world and different countries with different life experiences and cultures and food and music and world views. And it's really great that we get to kind of expose ourselves to that. It's like something that is one of my favorite parts of the university experience. And I think Royal Holloway, we have such a great community where people kind of interact with each other more than, say, if you were at a campus university, it might be different. Like, I spoke to someone who went to a university in London, and she told me that, I really like Royal Holloway. I kind of wish I went to a university like that, because it's less like, you see one person one time in the hallway and then you never see them again, or you get to know your lecturers, not just students, lecturers and other members of staff. So yeah, that's probably the best thing about Royal Holloway.
Completely agree with you. It's a really nice kind of community. It sounds really cheesy, but it's that community, isn't it, of seeing people all the time. You've kind of already touched upon what the greatest thing about your course is, so I'll kind of skip past that one. But what's the greatest thing about student life, so the other side of kind of university life?
I would say it would be the fact that I was able to make friends, but in a different way. So I was able to make friends in different communities. So I could get involved with societies and make friends through that, or I could get involved with my course or people in my accommodation. So I could kind of broaden my circle in those ways. And because of that, you kind of have friends who have a diverse amount of interests. So it's never boring. It's there's always something going on with someone, so I really appreciate that aspect of university life.
And what's the greatest thing about your time at university? So what's been kind of the thing that you're really proud of, or the thing that you're going to remember sort of the most about your time at university?
I would say, well, the thing I'm most proud of is managing to get through a pandemic during my degree and working as hard as I have been for my degree. So I think that's the thing I'm most proud of. The thing that I'll remember the most, though, is probably I would say kind of just walking around on campus, because especially since we've gone through a pandemic now, it's something that you appreciate so much more. Just like walking between classes, that was something I used to do, and it was really nice because walking through nature really kind of boosts my mood. So yeah, that's something I definitely remember viscerally about my university experience.
Good. Okay, so we're gonna move on to like a quick, really quick question. So either or. So I'm gonna give you two things about Royal Holloway,
Okay.
and I just want you to tell me which one you'd prefer or which one's better.
Yeah.
So either or. First one, either or, studying in Davidson Building or Founders Reading Room.
Davidson Building. Yeah.
Okay, interesting. Coffee at Cafe on the Square or bubble tea at Imagine?
Bubble tea at Imagine.
The SU or Medicine?
Medicine.
Founders Dining Hall or the Hub?
Ooh. The Hub, because of their brunches on the weekend are really great.
Living on campus or kind of like living outside of university, so living like the private sector?
Ooh, I would say living in the private sector.
Emily Warding Davidson or George Eliot as people?
Ooh, Emily Warding Davidson.
College or university?
University.
And last one, would you rather or either or listen to Insanity or read The Orbital?
Listen to Insanity.
Okay, all right, good. Okay, very interesting. Slightly controversial ones, but that's fine. It's interesting. Okay, so we're coming on to the last one. So these are like the final 8 sort of questions, and these are really kind of just like reflecting on kind of your time as a student and all that type of stuff. So the first one is, do you have any regrets about your time at university?
I would say one regret. Well, it's more of something that I wish I did earlier, which is take advantage of the career service earlier at university, because they were so helpful for me from second year onwards, because I kind of approached them and made one-to-one meetings to kind of figure out what kind of internships I want to do, what kind of sector do I want to be involved in, figuring those things out. And I didn't really pay attention much to the career service in first year, so I think that's something I wish I did a bit earlier. So yeah.
Excellent. Okay. What would you like to do once you've left university? So obviously, I know you've said to me that you're going on to do a master's, but like after that, kind of what's the goal? What's kind of what you're going to look to do?
So for me, this is what the career service helped me kind of decide on what I wanted to do. So I want to go into the creative industry, and that's why I'm studying marketing, because there are a few kind of creative companies that work in the creative industry, and they do things like marketing, but they also do things like educating people, getting people from BAME backgrounds into creative industries, and I definitely want to be involved with that, and so that's what I want to do. And I'm quite a creative person, so I thought I definitely want to do something creative. So yeah,
sounds brilliant. If you could do it again, what would you choose to study at university? So you can choose what you did study, what you're studying at the moment, or you could choose something else. What would it be?
Oh, so okay, this is tricky, because I really enjoyed studying philosophy, but like I said, I'm also quite a creative person, and I think I was quite shy growing up. Until I was about 17, I was quite a shy person, I would say, and I didn't pick art class at GCSE or A-level because of that fact that I was too shy. So I would say probably in some alternate universe I'd be studying art at a uni somewhere.
Cool, yeah, brilliant. What makes Royal Holloway special?
I think what makes Royal Holloway special is the people. I know that's another cliche answer, but I would say because not only are there a great diversity of people on campus, but you feel more connected to them as well because of this environment. So yeah, I would say the connection between people at Royal Holloway. So, yeah.
Brilliant. What would be the one thing you'd change about Royal Holloway? If you could change anything, what would be the one thing?
Okay, one thing, but to be fair, I think this is something that all universities need to do, which is decolonising the curriculum and diversifying our programs of study. So especially for philosophy, I definitely would change the kind of layout. I would add more philosophy that's from Africa or philosophy from Asia, because there's so many more interesting and diverse thoughts and opinions throughout time from those places that we don't really get to explore. That's why I'm doing my dissertation on Japanese aesthetics and Zen Buddhism and things like that, because it's a completely different side of philosophy that I wish we could explore more.
Yeah, it's a really important thing, especially in the humanities. Such an important thing that thankfully at the moment has been more talked about, but still, as you say, lots of universities have still got a fair way to go on that front. So yeah, brilliant. Yeah. Has university been what you've expected? So has it been better? Has it been worse than you expected? Kind of what did you expect?
So I think it's been as I expected. Obviously not the pandemic bit, but I think for the most part it's been as I expected. And I would say that I wasn't expecting to be making so many friends so quickly, and I think it's just down to the environment that I was lucky enough to be in, but that was something that really helped me throughout my university experience, and kind of any of the challenges along the way I was definitely very well supported. So yeah, I would say that's it.
Wonderful. Okay, last question. So what advice would you give your sixth form or college self? So if you could travel back in time and sit down with yourself for about 5 minutes or so, what advice would you give yourself?
I would say that it would be a mixture between don't be afraid to be yourself and be comfortable in the person that you are, but also try and challenge yourself to do things that are a little bit outside of your comfort zone every now and then, because I feel like that's when I'm the most fulfilled, when I'm doing both of those things, being comfortable in who I am, but also kind of pushing myself a little bit to try new things, to do things that might be a little bit daunting, because I think that helps me grow as well as a person. So yeah.
Thank you very much, guys, for watching. I hope that's been really insightful, really enjoyable, and keep an eye out for our next videos.